All right, welcome back to the ADCC Update Show. This is episode 2. Got all the boys here again. You know, Papa Reid, Uncle Joey, just Corey down there chilling, and then me, Trey. But, all right, so to kick things off today, I want to bring something up to you guys. Owen Jones, dude. Owen Jones might be my new favorite grappler. Did you guys see this picture he posted in the club holding 2 bottles of Dom Perignon?
No
and
way.
He tagged Craig and was like, am I doing this right? Or something like that. I mean, this dude is awesome.
Jiu-Jitsu's got a new star in Owen Jones, you know? That's like one of the good things about ADCC. You get these new stars, but this dude is like rising to the occasion. Okay, there it is. Yeah.
I'll put it on screen so the people watching can see it.
Wild
but
man.
It's like him holding 2 glow-in-the-dark bottles of Dom Perignon with his ADCC medal around, got the silkiest, sickest, tight-fitting button-down shirt on, glasses. I mean, this looks awesome, bro.
Yeah, man, when the grappling community starts paying attention, you better have something for them to, latch onto. And this guy's got it.
Yeah, Owen Jones, I had a conversation with him last week and just like kind of talking about, I was so impressed by his, not just his charisma, but his willingness to just like, he wants to be there. He was like, I want to be in front of those 15,000, 20,000 people. I want to be under the lights, and I want everybody to know I am coming for them. Like he has it. You know, whatever it is, 19-year-old kid, he has what it takes to be a star in jiu-jitsu.
I don't know how he's going to do at the tournament, but it sounds like a potential after-party MVP. Las Vegas, let's go.
Yeah, for real. If you're partying with Owen Jones after ADCC, it seems like the move.
Yeah, I remember, I think last year Tommy kind of stole the show, the after party, you know? I heard he was a fun guy to be around at the after party, but yeah, Owen Jones, #1 after party contender right now for me.
It is so cool being a guy like that, because usually like a trials winner, he's unknown. He's going to have like a top 3, top 4 guy.
Yeah,
sure.
Tough match.
Probably first round. He goes out there and he wins like 1 match and has that moment. You know, it's going to be enormous for him. Look at a guy like
Sam
2022. Sam McNally, great example, same division, goes out and beats Gary. That's, still so huge for him.
Yeah, Owen might have Diogo Hayes first round, right, at ADCC Worlds. Like, that's kind of how it works usually sometimes, with the European trials winners against, like, the champion, or at least, like, a Gary Tonin or something like who's really tough. So we could be looking at an Owen Jones, Diogo Hayes match first round a year from now.
Which sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does sound dope.
And that's what makes ADCC so special, so much different than anything else, right, is that 1 match is all you need to make yourself the king of jiu-jitsu.
Heisem. Look at Heisem in 2022. Didn't medal, didn't win the tournament, but everybody came out of there, especially after that first day, going, oh, my God, did you see the thing with Heisem? It's about moments more than matches sometimes.
Got to shout out Eddie Bravo, of course, right, as well.
Eddie Bravo. Great example.
Yeah, so, kicking things off with Owen there, but now I have a little surprise segment for you guys.
Okay.
This is a surprise segment, all right? I'm gonna put something on the screen for the viewers, and I'm gonna show you guys this. All right, this is a segment called Guess Those Grapplers. I've photoshopped 2 grapplers into 1 photo. So if you guys want to take a peek in at this photo, you can see it on screen. So Corey, come around. You got to move a little to look at it. There's 2 grapplers in this photo.
Like
one is the outside.
Together.
No, hey. I did it with my bare hands. AI, take a backseat. Trey knows how to Photoshop, all right? The machines aren't taking over yet.
Not yet,
I'm
baby.
going to guess the outside.
There's an outside and an inside.
I'm going to guess the outside, Troy Russell.
Okay. What do you guys think? Talk it out. What do you think?
Yeah,
I mean,
Troy Russell's the right guess for the outside.
Yeah, I can see Troy Russell in
But I
there.
kind of see Troy's
Which is like a
face on
good
the
head to
inside,
like
too.
Photoshop somebody on, because like he keeps the hair real close.
Yeah, who else has hair like that? Like Rafael Lovato Jr.? Is it Lovato Jr.?
It is not.
Are they opponents on WNO 20?
No, they're not opponents. I'll give a hint. They're both competing at East Coast Trials in the same division.
William Tackett, Troy Russell.
William Taggett? And
No,
Troy Russell?
Williams, they're different divisions. That's 77 and 88.
Williams at 88, right?
I have no idea who this is. This is the most confusing
I will
photo
say
at
this.
the moment.
Ray's our executive guy in charge of films here at Flow Sports. He also trains and everything. He got the inside immediately. Just literally like, boom, knew it. Called himself Eagle Eyes afterwards. So
Eagle Eyes, huh? Is Troy Russell right here?
Troy Russell's right. Troy
Okay,
Russell is the
okay,
outside.
okay. Troy Russell's the outside.
1 point.
But somebody's...
Is the insider who's #1 veteran?
Yes.
Can't get it. I don't know. I'm
Is
throwing
it
in the
you?
towel.
Is that you?
It's not me.
Is that you?
Are you
guys
doing
wish.
East Coast Trials now?
I'm in. Nah.
Is that what you're telling us?
You guys want me to reveal?
Yeah, reveal.
All right. It's Troy Russell. Max Hansen.
Oh, I was thinking Max Hansen.
Dang.
There we go. So the first ever guess those grapplers. I was worried that you guys
It'd
would
be
just
too
get it
easy?
immediately. Yeah, so I was thinking about making a backup, but I didn't. So that's the first ever guess those grapplers. If you're playing along at home, leave a comment. Let me know if you got it right. And also go ahead and like and subscribe while you're at it. But yeah, so that's a fun little segment. Troy Russell and Max
That'd be a
Hansen.
pretty good match, though, Max versus Troy, too. That's
That'd be sick.
That's a
And
good match.
we could see it happen in 77 kilos.
Okay.
Shout out to Max Hansen. Recently went through the Enigma bracket, all submissions, crazy Thunderlock in the finals. I think he's a guy that is building a lot of momentum right before East Coast Trials, like kind of at the perfect time, right?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a big another shout out for Enigma here. Speaking of trials and momentum and Enigma, DeAndre Corbet just yesterday went 4 for 4 on Enigma, 4 submissions, 4 matches. DeAndre is somebody to keep your eyes on at trials. He did really well last year, and I think this year is his wrestling, his top game, his submission-oriented game is really going to come into play here.
And it's a good point to like be active and to do these big tournaments kind of before this, because man, this tournament East Coast Trials is going to be is unlike any other tournament that these guys have really fought in ever before. It's going to take 7 matches, 8 matches, something like that to win 66, 77. It is going to be an insane tournament, and I feel like if you are not battle tested, like a guy like DeAndre and Max Hansen have been battle testing themselves these last couple months for good reason. So I feel like they're going to have an upper hand going into this tournament here.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to talk about is basically a little history on East Coast Trials. Not too deep. We'll just talk about basically last year, because I was like looking through, trying to prep some stuff for this, and I realized last year's East Coast Trial is the only trials, maybe not in history, but at least for this last ADCC cycle, that produced 2 ADCC world champions. So Cade Ruotolo and Giancarlo Bodoni both came out as the champ of East Coast Trials, and both went on to win the world championship. So what do you guys think? Is there something to be said about East Coast Trials? Do you guys think it's like the premier trials? I know West Coast was like a wilder event, like it seemed bigger, but 2 champs coming out of a trials is kind of insane.
I'll throw a third in there. Amy Campo was in the finals for the
Very
women.
true.
They weren't giving out. The women's don't earn a berth until the second trials, which would be the West Coast for the North American. But 3 world champions all in the finals there. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that makes West Coast Trials is chaos, right? And part of the chaos is all of these guys know it's their last chance. But it's their last chance because some of those guys that win East Coast are so good that they can go on to win the whole thing. They can go on to win Worlds. So this is the event where we're going to see everybody try and make their mark and set themselves up for big success going into ADCC. And then West Coast will just be kind of the last grab, everybody getting desperate. But this is the one where the stars really come out.
Yeah, I do think there is something to maybe East Coast being a little tougher than West Coast, just because it is the first one and everyone's going to go to the first one. If you miss the first one, then you only have 1 opportunity instead of 2 opportunities. 50% of your opportunities get cut. So
Easy mathematics.
Yeah. I was a math major.
We're going to check that on the stream before this goes out.
Yeah, we're going to figure those numbers out 100%. But, this is your first shot to do it. So I think, and look at the names that are in this, right? Mm-hmm. This one brought out Nikki Ryan. This brought out, a lot of the veterans, the Ethan Krenlinstons and the Richard Alicorns, the guys who have been to ADCC multiple times before. They know how important these East Coast Trials really are.
100%.
I think that's a really good point. Looking at a guy like Nikki Ryan being in this, probably the biggest name, in terms of star power overall, and I think that really speaks to how unsure a lot of guys are about the invite process. And there's just so much talent out there that, if Nikki were to leave it to chance, would he get an ADCC invite? Yeah, it seems likely. Yeah. But it's a really, really deep field this time, and it's better to have the sure thing. And so you're getting that level of talent at trials reflecting that overall level at Worlds, which is just going up and up and up.
These guys have to know at this point, given how successful ADCC was in 2022. If you did not finish in the top 4, if you've never earned a gold medal at ADCC, you cannot expect an invite. You can think maybe one comes and I get lucky, but everybody that wants to be at ADCC that hasn't been a top 4 in 2022, that hasn't medaled in 2017, 2019, should be expecting to go back and win it again and prove it again.
I feel like that's just something that like frustrates Mo. You know, you see him post about it all the time. Is people like expecting that invite? It's like if you don't know with 100% confidence and just basically it's like the world would explode if you didn't get an invite, then you should probably be doing trials. Like, because I mean, also you just like. Obviously, people who win get the sure thing, but like if you have incredible performances, like all right, well, you raised your stock and now you did kind of lock in as that next guy up invite and stuff. But you guys want to start going through the divisions? We got a lot of divisions here to cover.
I do. Can I say one thing first?
Sure.
I was looking through some of the guys who were kind of bubble guys for the last ADCC and their runs through trials, and I think for a lot of guys, and I think this is interesting coming into East Coast to keep in mind. It's hard to do really well at both trials. Like you would see a lot of guys do really well at East Coast or really well at West Coast, but they kind of bombed out at the other one. Like Cody Steele is an exemplar. Jacob Couch is another one where they have an incredible, beat so many tough guys back to back to back at one trials, but then they get to the other one and for whatever reason, maybe, you know, it's just the process of going through trials is so tough.
It's a gauntlet.
It's a
right?
gauntlet,
it's like
and then to do it again is really tough.
Yeah.
So I feel there's going to be guys that go through this tournament and, you know, podium, maybe place third or something, make the semis, even make the finals, and then go to West Coast hoping to recreate that. Sometimes you're able to. There are examples, like Keith Krikorian might be an example. But, like, it's really, really hard to have two separate deep trials runs.
It extends your camp and everything too, because it's like, oh shit, now I gotta keep training this hard and everything, trying to get ready for West Coast as well. So I do think that is that's a tough thing.
Because anything less than a gold medal, it's back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board.
Square one.
Well, and the weight classes are so deep too, right? They're 25-pound gaps, and these guys are cutting sometimes 25 pounds to make it. So sure, you make it to the final 16, that's a huge triumph. Like, but now you're in a whole new tournament. Now it's a 16-man tournament with the best guys in a 25-pound weight gap, right? So it's the best guys in basically 3 weight divisions that you have to go back through. You've just made it through a tournament of like easy matches, right? And now you've got a whole 16-man tournament to actually win the thing.
All right, so let's dive into this upcoming East Coast Trials. A little bit of a preview. We'll go division by division. I wanted to just point out, because obviously the lists are deep and there's just an infinite amount of people that could come out on top, to be honest. But I'll point out a few of the returning vets, and then I figured we could go around, talk about it, and then also kind of talk about maybe some of our dark horse picks for each division. So in 66, some of the returning vets, Richard Alarcon, Ethan Krellinston, Gianni Grippo, and Keith Krikorian were all guys that stood out. So what do you guys think about 66?
I think Ethan, as a former trials finalist, is somebody that really stands out to me as somebody who you would probably circle him as the number one guy coming in. If I were to name one person with experience who's done this before, I think Ethan is probably the most proven commodity. What gives me a little pause with Ethan is, man, this is a division where things turn over fast, and that's a lot of matches in one day where everybody has your name circled. Right, so I think that there is some risk in that for Ethan, just coming off of a tough who's number one match against Dante, where Dante looked unbelievable. I think he can do it, but it's going to be really, really incredibly tough. Yeah,
look at Owen Jones that just happened at the European trials, but everybody had Ash Williams' name circled in that bracket, right? Everybody knew that Ash was kind of the guy. And that if they were going to win the trials, they were going to have to be Ash Williams. So he had a target on his back, and he had a tough tournament just because everybody was gunning for him, right? So, yeah, I mean, same type of thing I feel like is going to happen here, especially in that 66-kilogram division where it's just full of young blood. There's a bunch of big names, obviously, that we know, but I feel like there's going to be a whole bunch of names that we don't even know at the moment that are just those young, hungry guys who don't get tired, who can run through these divisions, who have sick jiu-jitsu. There's definitely a lot of names in here probably that we're going to be seeing on the podium and stuff that we're not even going to highlight.
And the names we're circling are guys in the, let's say, 25-plus category, right? Like the Ethans and the Keiths and the Giannis. I think, for me, Keith is the name that I'm putting the biggest circle around because somebody like Ethan is an ADCC veteran, right? He's been there 3-4 times at this point, right? He was 2017. I think he was out 2019, back in 2022.
Yep.
But all the while, Keith has had to go through trials 4 or 5 times and make it to the finals 4 or 5 times. So he's not just an ADCC veteran. He's also an expert in ADCC trials specifically, which is a different thing, right? It's not 4 guys over 2 days. It's 8 guys over 2 days that you got to get through. And Keith has proven time and time again that he can excel through all the way to the final and every once in a while come up perfectly in the final.
Yeah, Keith knows better than anybody how tough these trials are, to be honest, right? He's been in the finals multiple times. He hasn't gotten it done in the finals a couple times there, but he's kept coming back every time. So I do like Keith in this bracket as well. I think the rule set seems to be really good for him as well. So I think he's going to have a good showing.
We talked about the Corby brothers, DeAndre and Gavin.
Well, let's get into our dark horse picks then. Kind of, if you guys want to go around.
Well, I was going to use that to say they're obviously so super tough, but they keep having Gianni Grippo problems. Where I think Grippo is lifetime like 3-0 or 4-0 against them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so like he ended, I think it was DeAndre's ADCC trials run last time
At the East Coast.
I think
East
both.
Coast, yeah.
I think it might have been both.
East Coast.
Cisneros, I think, beat him at West Coast. I remember.
There you go.
So okay,
You're saying Gianni ended the Corbe
The
brothers.
Corbe run.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
My bad.
And again at Nogi Worlds, faced DeAndre, I believe it was, and defeated him again. And so I think while there is still that, like, because Gianni's another guy, ton of experience, there is that undercurrent bubbling up trying to take out these old vets. These old vets do still keep, picking up wins. They're top dogs for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the experience is such a big deal. And, like, Mo was in town recently, and we talked with him a little bit, did some interviews with him. And, you always want to ask Mo, like, what's the advice to these guys? Trials is kicking up. What do you think they should be hip to if they want to make a run? And he always says, you got to know the rules. ADCC, you have to know the rules. That's, like, a major part of being successful. So, obviously, the veterans are going to always kind of have the edge there and everything. But let's go into some dark horse picks. I think maybe if you guys want to go around, we can kind of pick just, like, a dark horse person that's not a vet, not a returning trials winner or anything, but someone that we got our eye on that we think could make a deep run that might get overlooked. I'll kick it off because you kind of already brought them up, and I want to make sure and pick them. But I'm going to say my dark horses are, I'm going to go for the 2-for-1 special. This is, back in the day, you get to do this with the Ruotolo brothers. Now we're doing it with DeAndre and Gavin Corbe.
For people out there maybe don't know as much about the Corby brothers, what can you I haven't seen too much of them.
Yeah, the Corbe brothers, they train at Standard Jiu-Jitsu with Greg. They kind of have a very interesting training environment from the things I've seen. It's like they do a lot of that ecological training that I see people posting on Reddit and stuff, talk about ecological this, ecological that. So that seems cool. But they're also just like, they put a pace on people. They're so fast. They're so like relentless. They're just nonstop type of grapplers. Corey, I know you're super hip to them. Well, give the people a little preview of what can expect from the Corbe bros.
Yeah, they're very unpredictable and very fundamentally technically savvy, right? A lot of top game, a lot of Kimura traps and triangles, but always looking for the back, always working to pass. They play a really modern Nogi style, and look no further really than their Nogi Pans run in 2022, where I believe DeAndre took out Adam Benayoun in the final, and Gavin took out Kieran Kitchuk in the final. I could have that mixed up, but 2 top level guys they took out. Awesome top game, awesome game all around.
100%. What anybody got a dark horse on their mind?
I want to call that a separate 2-for-1 special, and I'm really talking about
bang for your buck
an
picks here.
entire group of guys. These guys I'm grouping.
All right, let's make a pick once.
I'm gonna pick 12
so.
people.
My pick is that everyone's gonna have fun.
Yeah. I'm talking about the guys significantly under 145 pounds. There are 2 I want to call out.
Okay.
Cameron Malo from OCBJJ from
Tom
under Tom
student.
DeBlas, and Valor Boyer. Valor Boyer, a brown belt Nogi world champion from Movement Art. Really, really dangerous submission game. He is in the 130, 135 pound area, but I think he makes it to the second day.
Okay, fair enough.
Very tight. Very tight.
Joe?
I will pick Dorian Olivares. I think that kid is really coming on. He is, I think, only like a high school junior, but he's a crazy good wrestler. He's a state champion wrestler. He is winning a ton of ADCC Opens, beating very tough guys. He is training with, I think, an MMA future in mind. but I just think that kid has a great style, enough physicality, enough everything to be able to make a really nice run here. I don't know if he wins it. Maybe he does. But I think that if I were to pick like one guy that's still like kind of left out there, Dorian Olivares is definitely somebody we should be listening to.
You said state champion wrestler. Where's he from?
Texas.
Oh,
Houston.
Texas.
I've seen him at B Team before, I believe.
Yeah, he's trained with B Team, but he mostly trains with his father.
Gotcha. Sick.
He's one of those garage boys, living
Reid?
up in the garage, getting those workouts in.
Hell yeah.
Yup, trying to do a little check out who's in there at the moment. But, oh, yeah, you got Zach Kina in
Got
there.
Zach Kina. We
course.
got John Calistine is around. Joey Deal.
John Calistine's back, huh? Okay, cool.
Reese Lefebvre,
Cool.
Dominic Mija,
You know-
Fabian Ramirez.
Dominic Mija would be a
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's a good.
Dom's
dark horse pick.
yeah, we've been watching him train, obviously, out there at New Wave a little bit. Is Caleb Tackett?
Yeah,
in
don't
six- in
sleep on
66?
Caleb Tackett.
I
That's
think
the-
he is. I think he is in there.
That's the sleeper
he's the
pick
one I was
there.
going to say. Caleb Tackett. Don't sleep on the Tackett bros. They're out there killing it. They're getting older. I think it's going to be the year of the Tackett bros. All
Okay.
three of them might do really, really well at this East Coast Trials.
That's a sick one for sure. All right, let's move up.
Honestly, Caleb had a good West Coast Trials last year. I think he lost to Estevan. Right, that's right. But he did have a bunch of good matches.
Do you think we're gonna see that crew all show up dyed hair, blonde hair? I remember last year they all had blonde hair for East Coast Trials.
Wait,
and
that's
West Coast.
died?
all 10 of them, right? William and
Yeah.
Andrew and Caleb and Brukatu and
That
Cody.
squad rolls deep, bro. So, all right, let's move up to 77 now. I'll point out some of the returning vets to kick it off, and then we can, bounce around our thoughts and everything. Then we'll get into dark horses again. But we got John Blank, John Combs, Nicky Ryan, Diego Sanchez, Oliver Taza, some of the returning vets in this division. What do you guys think about this one?
Diego Sanchez, clear favorite.
Nightmare?
2004 or whatever, 2005 ADCC veteran. Coming back to fight. No, of course. But
Dude,
it
is he
was-
still with his guru
Ledge.
coach? Guy?
No, that
he's
guy
out.
is.
He's out.
Okay,
that
okay,
guy's
then
gone.
yeah, okay.
No, but it is cool to see like Diego and some of these like MMA guys.
Yeah, love it. We need
hopping
more of
into
those
these brackets.
crossovers.
Another guy, MMA guy hopping in, Nick Newell, famous fighter, only one hand from birth, and so definitely be cool to see how well he can.
Have you guys ever rolled with somebody with one hand?
I have.
It's kind of
I've
gnarly,
not.
dude. They will just punch your throat.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, Ezekiel's become a little bit very
it's like, all right,
serious
bro.
thing.
Yeah, I remember Nick Newell having a good guillotine, right?
He has,
in
he has a very good
and-
game.
Yeah.
Nicky Ryan, I think, is probably like we mentioned him earlier, one of the most interesting guys in here because, like technically speaking, like move for move, position for position, like who in this bracket could go with him? Not very many guys, but I think the attrition of 7 matches over 2 days is not something we've ever seen Nicky really do successfully.
We have not seen Nicky Ryan in a tournament since his famous ADCC Trials run in 2019, where he submitted 5 guys in 5 matches, maybe 5 and 6, but it was something incredible. And he did it with relative ease, right? Submitted everybody that was anybody up against him. But that's the last time we've seen him in a tournament
Toto,
bracket.
I believe, right?
Yep.
Cade was in there, and who did he submit in the finals?
Kieran?
Keith.
Keith.
Yeah,
Keith.
yeah.
You know, one thing that I do think is going to help Nicky Ryan, it kind of like sways it back over. I'm like, okay, I actually, I think Nicky Ryan can get it done, is the day before weigh-ins. I
That
think
does help.
him being able to weigh in the day before and then recharge.
But he's going to have to weigh in 2 days in a row.
Yeah,
Also not fun.
true. But I do think, I don't know. I think Nicky could get it done, to be honest. with you.
1,000% Nick can
Just
get it
to
done.
put this, like he definitely has the skill, but just to put this into context, this will be 7 matches in 2 days. Since 2017, he's had 12 matches.
It's going to be
Like
a
it-
gauntlet.
Trials there.
It's going to be an
Say again?
intense
That's what I'm
one.
putting his trials.
You know who I'm excited to
trials?
see, though, to be honest, a little bit, is I'm excited to see kind of Oliver Taza bounce back. I think,
sure.
it was definitely like an intense tournament for him over there in Europe. Obviously, he lost in the finals to Joseph Chen. And, if you know Taza, you know that's not good enough, right? So I think he's definitely going to be super, super focused, kind of coming back in. And it's going to be a very hard tournament for him to win, for sure. So it's not like he's going to go in and go in an easy tournament. It's just going to be another just murderer's row, Diego Sanchez and Nicky Ryan. So should be sick.
I feel like we're forgetting how good John Blanc is.
Yeah, no, John Blanc's the man.
He's so good.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
so dangerous. He's one of the best 10th Planet guys going.
One of the best leg lockers in the division for sure.
great triangle that he can slap on really well. I think that he is a guy who has like the physical force. Like he's just such a stud, right? I think he could definitely.
We just haven't seen him too
haven't seen him.
much.
He's been injured, I think.
Yeah.
Looking at this list, and this goes for anybody who's got a leg lock background, that's not going to be enough to get past maybe the third round, right? Because you look at just this list alone: John Blank, Kieran Kachuk, Pierre Leclerc, Nicky Ronan, Nick Ronan, Nicky Ryan, Andrew Tackett, Oliver Taza.
Yeah.
Having a leg lock background is just going to put you at neutral.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think one good thing too, going in John Blank's favor, that dude's been dipping into the essential competition training sessions. Renee's been there also and stuff. And man, that competition class is just so intense, and JT is like so good at running that. He's got his wrestling coach there and everything. That I do think that anyone who if you need to start turning up the ADCC specific training or the wrestling, that's a great place to be doing it. So John Blank for sure could show up and have some new skills that we haven't seen before. So.
I think you're gonna for sure have to submit your first 3 guys pretty quick,
Good point.
to save
it's
yourself.
True. Getting managing that first day, getting through that first day without having been through some wars is going to be so important for setting yourself up for that day 2 success.
All right, let's get into some dark horses. Anybody want to kick it off?
Just one name obviously we haven't mentioned yet, and I'll I said it earlier, is just Andrew Tackett, of course. I'm not even sure he's a dark horse at this point. He might be one of the favorites to win this thing. Obviously, he's young. Obviously, he's coming into his own right now. I feel like he's killing it out there. He's had some really big wins recently, and I feel like this is just kind of the perfect tournament for him. He's a great wrestler as well. He's on your back. So I think it's going to be tough to beat Andrew Tackett in this rule set. He had an incredible run at 66 kilograms last time at the West Coast Trials, lost to Damien in one of the best matches of the tournament. So, yeah, even if he doesn't win, he's going to have some of the best matches of the tournament, I have a feeling. And it's hard to pick against Andrew Tackett for sure.
Andrew just has a swagger about him right now, too. It's just he's kind of
I don't know that I would call it swagger. It's very goofy, but yeah, I know what you mean.
He's slick. He's slick.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's got a swagger, dude. When Andrew walks in, you can kind of be like, oh, that dude might be the man.
The hair slick.
Yeah, he's doing donuts in his car with Corey, in the driver's seat crying. I heard Corey in the background screaming, "No,
for a little bit for sure."
Slow down. But so yeah, for sure. I think that's a great dark horse pick. That was actually Mo's. Mo picked Andrew as the dark horse to potentially do well.
There you go.
Also, but I'll pick. I think Max Hansen is a guy.
Yep.
I know we mentioned him earlier, but Max Hansen's he's one of the most active dudes in jiu-jitsu right now. This guy drives from Toledo to anywhere in the country for a match or for a bracket, and he's been killing it also. So I think Max Hansen could go on a pretty sick run here.
I want to call out Kieran Kachuk. Kieran, I think it was one of my favorites to do well at East Coast and West Coast last year. He lost to Cade Rosolo last year, who ended up winning the whole thing. And then at West Coast, he had a close decision loss to Chris Wojcik.
Yeah.
Kieran just has those, his leg game, like we just talked about, puts him at neutral, right? But I think that gets him to day 2. And then I'm sure he's been working on his wrestling, but his back control game, his top game, his guard game are all right there. I think Kieran just needs to be having his day, and he gets himself in.
I want to know why Michael Lira is in this division. I think that's really interesting because he's not a guy who's had a lot of ADCC experience. So for him to enter trials now, I feel like he has to be feeling pretty good about his chances of success. He's coming off of a great win at Masters Worlds over JT Torres. I thought that was really impressive. So often in so many different combat sports, we'll see that a great champion will have one last great performance, one last great little run in them. I think this could be that for Michael Lira, and so I'm really interested to see how he does.
He's looking great at the Opens this year. He's
looked great at the Opens.
Great matches with. I remember a match with Elijah Dorsey. Some other awesome matches for Michael.
Yeah, he's always been an elite grappler, right, for a long time, and we haven't just seen him too active recently. I know he's been doing some of the ADCC Opens, but we used to see him at Worlds every year and everything. So would love to see Michael Lira get some wins because he's always had sick jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and then we mentioned Chris Wojcik.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple additional dark horses just to throw out there. Chris Wojcik for sure has to be up there, and then Pierre Leclerc.
I've always liked Pierre's jiu-jitsu too.
Chris is such a disruptor, especially at West Coast Trials. He knocked out Cody. He knocked out Kieran. He took out everybody that I think we had circled around, and that really put Chris on the map.
Since
sure.
then, Cody's just knocked everybody out.
Yeah.
Cody was like, I'm just gonna start.
I'm just gonna start knocking
He's
everybody.
still angry
Wait
about
a
it.
second, dude.
He's
I
still
can,
really
I can
upset.
just freaking put these hands on him, dude. They just go to sleep.
Shout out to Cody Steele on that killer KO over the weekend.
Cody Steele bypassing the like the back take and all that to put someone out. He just realized he can just
throw a
hit
knee.
you in the head.
Punch you in the face.
Chest to chest. Let's get fist to face here.
Yeah. So shout out Cody Steele. He's been killing it. for
Shout out to
sure.
him. Shout out to a couple other guys in this bracket. Elijah Dorsey, we've kind of mentioned. I think
breakfast.
he is like, he's like a dark horse outside the dark horse, where it's like I don't even know how good he is in nogi. You know what I mean? He's done like 1 or 2 ADCC Opens, and
I bet he's nasty.
I bet he's nasty. Troy Russell, super tough. Nick Ronan, we mentioned, super tough. There's a lot of guys. I mean, there's 270 something.
So deep.
We could sit here just all day being like, oh, this guy, yeah, he's a beast. This guy,
For
yeah, he's
real.
a beast.
188.
Yeah, let's do 88. So 88 returning vets. We got Elder Cruz. Majid Hage is up from 77. He's in at 88 this time. J-Rod, the Black Belt Slayer 2.0, returning. See if he can get it done at East Coast Trials this time. And William Tackett bumped up from 77. What do you guys think of this one?
Tough to pick a favorite. Elder Cruz is hard to beat in ADCC rules. I mean, not very many of the guys who won trials went on to beat an ADCC veteran in the first round of ADCC. But
How did he do East Coast Trials last year? Did he make it to the finals?
Elder won East
He
Coast
won.
Trials last year.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, at
99.
At 99.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
No, that was Mason Fowler. He won West Coast.
He won West Coast. That's
Yes.
right. But he
Elder,
was in the final against Giancarlo.
yeah, I knew he was either in the finals or third.
He was in the
place match.
finals at 88 against Giancarlo.
He lost the
bumped
final
up
to
to
Giancarlo.
99. Yeah.
Got it.
Gotcha.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think his game is just constantly developing. I want to talk about his guard in a second, but first to say like his wrestling probably top notch among the ADCC guys. His top game obviously very movement oriented, but recently we got to see a little bit of his guard work at Worlds, and I was pleasantly surprised how much guard he's been playing, and it looks just like Lucas Leitch's Coyote half guard,
Oh,
right?
dude,
Like,
I remember we were sitting there watching that, and he hit a beautiful coyote sweep, and then we both looked at each other and were like, "Oh, dude, a little
Yeah,
Lucas
it's-
Leitch in here. This guy's got a guard after all."
Working
Elder
on his
constantly
guard.
developing, playing from the bottom, and making it work for him.
Well, and what a great guard for a wrestler to pick
Yeah.
too. That it's such a wrestle up style. That's a really smart thing for him. Like we mentioned, he was in the finals here at minus 88 against Giancarlo, and he lost. But everyone lost to Giancarlo at
Giancarlo,
minus
best in
88.
the world,
He
so.
was #1 guy in the world. So I feel like after that, he might have gotten like spooked up to go up to like minus 99. Him down at minus 88. We've seen that he can have really competitive matches with the best guys in the world. For example, Giancarlo. So I think that coming in, you said you can't pick a favorite. To me, I think if you were to circle one guy, it would be Elder, just based off of all that. I think a guy like Jacob Couch, you have to consider is right there. He's another guy who's been having a lot of success at ADCC Opens. He hasn't been bulletproof, but he's had a lot of good success. His wrestling is improving a ton, and he's so dangerous with those submissions at any time, right?
I want to throw out to you guys too. Can J-Rod repeat a 7 for 7?
That's what I was gonna say, man. Like I know one dude I don't want to fight at trials. That's J-Rod. It seems like trials are J-Rod's thing, you know. So I don't know. Who knows if he can repeat? That was obviously just an incredible run that he had at West Coast Trials. But he's had a whole, year plus now of working since then. Obviously, one of the best rooms in the world over at B Team, training with all those guys every day. So you have to imagine that we're going to see a much improved version of J-Rod. I think, one of the reasons why he came out of the blue so much last time is because he just hadn't had that type of success yet. And that was just a big coming out party for him. So we'll see if he can do it again. But I wouldn't mind putting some money on J-Rod for sure. He's young, he's athletic, he's a wrestler. There's a great rule set for him. Obviously, he's got rear naked chokes for days. He's got the buggy choke. This is a good rule set for him.
This division to me it has obviously some very good returning vets, but it also the dark horse list is kind of it's weird because the dark horse list.
Can we just say William Tackett also right there with anybody in this division? We mentioned Caleb and Andrew. I think William has
He's gonna be my dark
every
horse.
path that they have that he can also make happen.
Yeah, but so like I was saying, the dark horse list on this one is kind of like none of them are actually really dark horses. It's all just more dudes who could win the division, and this one, in my opinion, goes really deep for where that list ends. So I don't know. You guys want to start naming some of those names?
This is a murderer's row, and I honestly don't know if he makes the final, but somebody you do not want to find yourself against, Achilles Rocha.
100%.
I think Achilles just going to
16-year-old.
have cardio for days. He's going to slap the back of your head more times than is necessary and really throw you out for game. If you run into Achilles, and even if you win the match, your next match is going to suck for you.
Yeah,
Now
for
you're
sure.
going to be worn down.
I think that, man, there's a couple of recent Who's Number One veterans. Somebody that just recently registered is Sebastian Rodriguez. I think that he's somebody that can come in and do a ton of damage in this division. Super tough wrestling style, really, really gritty guy, able to make that happen. Can we go back to the J-Rod thing for a second? Because I remembered something that is like, man, so coming up at Tezos, Who's Number One Night of Champions, October 1st, streaming exclusively on FloGrappling. Tickets now available. He's going to be in the 170-pound bracket. This is 195 pounds.
That's crazy.
Like, that's are we worried at all about that jump? I know he's done it before and excelled at it.
No
Gotta
way.
trust that J-Rod knows where he feels best, right?
Yeah, it's like, it kind of worked for him last time, too. He was undersized last time. Sometimes, I guess, it could be a good thing if you're not cutting all that weight, right? You just come in, weighing what you weigh, fresh, ready to go. I don't know which one I would do, but
Even at ADCC, J-Rod had a close match with Who's Number One light heavyweight champion, Pedro Mourinho.
Yeah,
it went down
very
to
true.
the wire. He
Very
doesn't.
true.
Weight disparity does not mean much for J-Rod, apparently.
Bro, J-Rod's just a dog, to be honest. And, like, when you're a
Yeah.
dog, you just do dog shit.
First
And
team
that
all
means
dog.
just going up to 88 for no reason. And
First
just
team all
literally
dog.
just to get yourself amped up and to freaking mess everybody up. So,
Speaking of guys bumping up, Majid Hage.
yeah,
Really like that move for him.
for sure.
And 70s, and that might be a consideration for a lot of these guys, for J-Rod, for Elder, for, I don't know, any of these guys who are going into a weight class that might not be their weight classes. 77, you throw yourself in there and you know what you're in for. You know you're in for Nicky Ryan, Oliver Taza, Andrew Tackett, like these guys who have been there. And not to say 88's any easier, but it's not just a list of guys who have an endless gas tank.
Yeah,
For sure. I think-
77 looks tough.
Yeah, so to point out some more of the 88 dark horses, obviously, I don't even know if Jacob Couch should be considered a dark horse. He's kind of like that, like how I'm saying there's that big in-between grouping with 88 where it's like these guys are also just kind of favorites. But him, Hunter Colvin, I think Hunter Colvin is another guy who's on the all-dog team. I think he's an absolute dog. So, and went to the finals West Coast with J-Rod.
Yep.
Right? So I think Hunter Colvin. And then another guy I want to point out, Mike Crisp. Mike Crisp had a crazy run West Coast. Dude's tatted as could be. He just looks like a beast. And so I think Mike Crisp could make a sick run
Semi-finalist,
also.
yeah, from ADCC West Coast
I
Trials.
believe so. I couldn't remember where he ended up.
I think he lost to J-Rod in the semis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just J-Rod, just
That's super duck. That was
so many. Yeah.
that was super
So
sick.
so there's a few more of those guys. You guys have anyone else to point out? It's
Kyle
12:51
Chambers.
now.
There's
so it's
a
Kyle
guy
Chambers.
named Mountain Lion on
Sebron,
here.
Sebron Mountain
But
Lion.
so that sounds pretty sick. But yeah, I did want to just shout out the two 10th Planet Bash Bros, Kyle Chambers, Renee Souza.
Yeah.
Those guys. Especially Renee, I think he had a great run last time at the ADCC Trials. Didn't get it done, but he's been out there competing heavy recently too. So, and would love to see Kyle Chambers do well.
I actually want to shout out three guys. If we're allowed to pick multiple, I'll go multiple. Sean Yadamarco, super tough guy. Tom DeBlash trained, really nice guy. I think that he has a great shot of doing really well in this division. Angelo Claiborne, world class black belt. I think that big, physical, imposing, strong as an ox, going to be hard to move around. I think that he could do really well here. And Jason Rao, super technical, always coming up with something interesting. Even if he doesn't win the division, I'm always really interested to watch Jason's fights because he's just so he's one of those guys that I think is technically helping push the sport forward inch by inch. I think that's really cool.
He's got great jiu-jitsu. It's going to be fun to watch.
The cool thing about 88 here is the list of people we've highlighted is so deep. These guys are just here to a lot of these guys are here to thin the herd a little bit, right? And that 256 goes down to 128, goes down to 64, and now we've got the guys we're talking about.
Yeah, big time.
And so many of these guys are just going to clear the pack for the rest
right.
of everybody else.
That's our bracket expert, Corey Stockton, over there, breaking down how a bracket goes.
You want me to-
And eventually it
We've
ends
done
with
the
one.
math.
I
It
can
ends
keep
with
divided
one.
by 2 if you want.
I'm kidding. All right, just because of time restraints, though.
David Garmo as well.
Because of time restraints, because we could literally sit here and list names from every division all day. Let's go to under 99. So under 99 returning vets, Devontae. Who else I put? Elliott Kelly. Was there any other ones I missed?
Those are the only 2 ADCC vets. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you guys think about under 99?
I feel like these divisions might take less time for us to talk about just because they are a little bit less talent rich than the others.
They're just smaller as well.
just
like
smaller.
Literally the overall number.
Devontae is, I think, the class of this, right? He is the guy that coming in you have to look at as the lead guy, right? The super tough wrestling. He's not afraid to get into close matches, right? You know, he will have. It'll be unlikely that Devontae could go all submissions through this. There's going to be a decision or two, but he very well, should be winning a gold medal if everything goes to plan.
I said this on the last episode, but I think for me the obvious 1-2 is Devontae and Joe Dierkeising.
Yeah.
And I think the only way either one of those guys does not make it to the final is if Michael Pixley has something to say about it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Michael Pixley, for me, is the dark horse in this one that could just somehow disrupt everything and make a surprise crazy run. Michael Pixley's just a mean dude.
Yeah,
to be honest.
last person I want to fight at ADCC.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Michael Pixley's like, I guess another guy who's all team all dog. Maybe we got to make our official.
we gotta get like a team all dog thing going. Yeah,
dude, Michael Pixley is a mean dude, incredible wrestler, and just like loves a fight. You know, so you guys can say in the comments it's a match, but like Michael Pixley's going there to fight.
It's a fight
Like,
when
he
Michael
doesn't
Pixley's
care
in
if
it.
it's a match or not. He's there to fight. And so I think he could have. For sure, we're going to see some incredible highlights early from Michael Pixley.
Yeah, 600%. Some guys getting thrown 7 feet up in
just-
the air.
Throwing
Just
it
slide bys and
directly
foot
into a dark
sweeps.
choke.
Right, yeah, exactly. Right to a Darce choke.
But
Adam Bradley, also somebody we're
T-Rad.
shouting out in this bracket. Who's
yeah,
next
he's
veteran? Really tough guy. Otto's trained.
It's probably a good division for him, to be honest.
I think so, too.
when I was creating the Guess Those Grappler Photoshop, I was thinking about doing John Hansen and Adam Bradley because I thought that would be an interesting looking photo, but I couldn't find good enough photos. So there's a little peek behind the curtain for you viewers at home. But you guys, what other thoughts on 99? You guys want to move up to 90?
Yeah.
Plus
Let's do
99?
over 99.
Let's
All
do
right.
over 99.
Plus 99 returning vets, John Hansen, like I just said, Dominic Ramos, Big Dan got in the mix.
He's in now?
I believe so.
In the mix. He is official.
So I think this one now, in my opinion, kind of comes to anything could happen. So I just feel like we always need to caveat that, But John Hansen, Big Dan is probably
Probably the final, right?
Yeah.
And I'd imagine, again, these guys are the 1 and 2, right? The East Coast Trials winner was John Hansen 2021, and Big Dan has finaled a bunch of trials now, but his most successful was the second European Trials last year. So that's your 1 and 2. Big Dan's going to have a chip on his shoulder in this one. I think he's going to go very wrestling heavy, but we've seen in the past that that's not an easy game against John Hansen, right? If Big Dan wants to wrestle John, he's going to have something special waiting for him because John has great wrestling, a great top game. Yeah.
John has, especially looking at the loss that Big Dan just took to Heike, Big Dan has Big John rather has the style you would put together to face that, right? Positionally very sound, very, very big, very, very strong, and can wrestle enough where if the match goes late, it's going to be a big problem for Big Dan. And so I think it might be the tale of 2 matches where if it's not early Big Dan, it's going to be late John.
Yeah, a big tournament for Dan here.
Yeah,
coming up,
honestly,
right?
yeah. If he loses this again, with all these eyes on him, that's
a lot of
not
eyes
great.
on him. He's been killing it at the ADCC Open, then just couldn't get it done in Europe. But you just wonder, did Heki Jusula kind of put out a blueprint to beat Big Dan? Obviously we don't know that yet. We'll see. But that guys like Damon and John Hansen and some of the other guys are really kind of intently watching that match to try to beat him.
There is a 0% chance that Dan pulls guard in the final. The last 2 times he's pulled guard in an ADCC final, it has come back to haunt him.
Yeah.
He
I
will
think
not
he will.
pull guard.
I think he will. I don't know what his other path to victory. He's working on his takedowns, but I think if he stands for the entire time, that might go worse. I think there's definitely a chance of that, and we're gonna have to tune in to find out.
Quick question.
shouldn't he do the
Shoot.
Yeah,
Shoot. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
If you're anybody other than Daniel Montessoyu, how scared are you to run into Pat Shaggy to the adult slayer Pat Shigoli?
What's his story? How come people are afraid of him?
He rips
Yeah.
legs, man.
He just breaks his
He's
legs.
kind
Really
of has some
it.
gnarly, like, freaking grip it and rip it type of stuff.
Gotcha.
He's also the adult
Yeah,
slayer 10P on Instagram.
It's
so
because he's a jerk.
Gotcha.
No, there was a big debate at one point about whether or not he was being like respectful or honorable or whatever. I guess with
I
some
don't
of his
know. I think if you're in a
applications.
tournament for money,
when you're out there, break
if you're in
it.
a tournament for money, you got to try and break
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
100%. All right, let's move on.
Somebody I do want to point out, two guys I want to point out, Amir Alam of 10th Planet in this bracket could do some real damage. Somebody I think could be like a Michael Pixley kind of upset guy is Mario Gonzalez, Big Ten wrestling champion for Illinois, who just won a UWW grappling gold medal. And so I think like he has definitely some of those skills you would look for in an ADCC bracket to do well.
He made the finals at West Coast, I feel like. Maybe? Or
That
semifinals?
Sounds right. At least
I don't know that he made the
semifinals.
finals. I think he made the semifinals.
Semifinals.
I think he lost to.
I remember being impressed with him.
Devontae.
Yeah,
He lost to
Mario's
Devontae.
super,
Yeah.
super tough. So don't be surprised.
All right, so women's division real quick because we're running out of time here at the Flow Sports HQ. But we have 3 women's divisions this time, 55, under 65, and over 65. I looked real quick at some of these and some of the notable names in at 55. Tammy Musumeci, Amanda Bruce, Jessie Crane, Sofia Casella, Alex Enriquez, Jasmine Rocha. Anybody I'm missing here for 55?
Lauren Sears, Faye Sherrier, 2 other names that I saw. But yeah, it looks like a really, really good division. It only takes looking back to the last East Coast Trials finals of Brianna St. Marie and Alex Enriquez, and the other final was plus 60, and that was Kendall and Amy Campo. Those are like world-class matches that happen in those finals. I think we should be expecting the same here, where even though there's not a trial spot or there's not a berth to Worlds on the line, you're still going to be seeing some really elite no-gi action here.
Yeah, I love Jasmine Rocha in there. You know, I think she's been killing it, obviously, lately, doing a lot of the ADCC Opens. She just had the big match with Fionn. But I feel like Jasmine matches up with a lot of these girls really, really well.
This is the East Coast debut of the 55 kilogram division, right? This is the first ADCC season where under 55 exists, and so I think a lot of those girls who have previously been a little undersized are going to really shine here. And I want to shout out Sofia Casella. Obviously, a great leg lock game. She has a record-setting who's number 1 submission via leg lock, but also she works for wrestling a lot, and that's something that absolutely matters in ADCC and absolutely in some of the smaller women's divisions where wrestling isn't that prominent. To be a good wrestler in the finals really matters.
And then under 65, the next division up, a couple notable names I noticed: Mo Black and Helena Cravar. What
Helena
else?
Cravar, Trinity Pun, also in there. I think she adds depth in that. The Helena show? Are we thinking the Helena show?
Helena's got to be the one to beat, right? At this point?
Right now, Trinity is her training partner too here at New Wave, so I don't know what that looks like in the training room, but yeah, until proven otherwise, Helena Cravar is almost impossible to count out.
I think she's somebody that people are probably circling right now as like a very serious podium threat. Despite her age, she's still one of the top in the world, and it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, Mo Black in there. There's definitely some good competition in there for Helena that maybe she hasn't seen before. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see what she can do.
And then plus 65, we got Aaron Hart, Brittany Elkin. Who else am I missing?
Bridget McAleese has been doing really well at the ADCC Open circuit, I would say, and so she's somebody else is gonna add depth. Aaron Harp, I think, is probably the Vegas favorite, right? Somebody who's done well in the Who's Number 1 stage, right? I think that she's that person, but this is a bracket that I think is ripe for a little bit of a breakout. If somebody wants to have their breakout moment, this might be a good bracket to do it in.
Aaron has that MMA background too, which MMA wrestling, dominating top position is something that is absolutely important, and I think that gives Aaron a slight edge, but I think you're absolutely right, Joe. This is an opportunity for somebody to break out, set themselves apart going into the West Coast Trials, the one that counts.
Especially these 3 divisions, all 3 of them, it's the new kind of breakup, how these things are going for ADCC. You got 55, 65, so I think all 3 of them you could see some kind of new female stars emerging.
Yeah, and so just worth noting again, like at this point, hopefully all the viewers and stuff know it, but the women do not actually qualify for the World Championship at the East Coast Trials. The West Coast Trials is their opportunity to qualify, but there's a lot to be said about the experience you gain from competing there, and just from seeing who comes out on top of East Coast is most likely going to end up making a deep run at West Coast.
This will have a seeding impact as well, right? If you do well at East Coast Trials, if you win East Coast Trials and you make your way to West Coast Trials, you're going to be the number 1 seed. You're going to give yourself an easier path to victory. So they're not taking it lightly. It's not a test run, right? This is something that has an impact for March or April whenever West Coast Trials comes around.
There's also going to be more women vying for invites than ever, with more divisions than ever. And so I think that, getting out there and being somebody who visibly does well under ADCC rules is going to matter for that a lot.
All right. Well, that's a wrap here for the ADCC Update Show, Episode 2. Just a real quick plug. Make sure you guys are watching Who's Number 120, the Night of Champions. It's going down Sunday, October 1st. We got Gordon Ryan headlining the card, going up against Patrick Gaugio. Then we got a couple championship brackets, 170 pounds. We're going to see Mika Galvao, Andrew Tackett, PJ Barch,
Jay
Rodriguez, there we go. And then 145, we got Diogo Hayes, Keith Krikorian,
Ash Williams,
Gabriel Souza.
Gabriel Souza,
there we go. And then we're also going to see Rafaela Guedes go up against Nachieli de Jesus, and then
Liz Clay BSM for the 145-pound title.
And then we got
Lovato Evangelista, a rematch of the 2013 Brazilian Nationals Finals Open Class, where Lovato won and became the only non-Brazilian to ever win Brazilian Nationals Open Class.
There we go.
This is a rematch of a really, really historical fight.
Very historical fight. So make sure you guys dust off the history books, read up on that one, and then tune in Sunday, October 1st to Who's Number 120, the Night of Champions. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next week, where we might be doing a little fantasy draft. Maybe some more guest grapplers, some fun segments. So thanks for tuning in.